Hello and welcome to another episode of Geek-men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I'm Dustin.
And I'm Zombie.
That's right. And we have a very special guest today. And so without further ado... Hey, welcome. Welcome back, Brian. How's it going?
Thanks. Good. Thanks for having me back. I figured I was going to sit on the couch in between the two red cushions there.
Right.
Exactly. I'll just to kind of lean back on these two here. Exactly.
Yeah. So what's been going on?
What do you mean what's been going on? It's been a crazy month. What's going on right now is obviously the big hot news with everybody is that we got to announce O-Ring at the end of last week for G.I. Joe, which is sort of monumental. And then at the same time, also dropped Godzilla -1 on the theatrical release date, which was also pretty exciting. I don't know if either of you have seen it yet.
Yeah.
I have. That thing looks absolutely killer.
Have you not seen it yet?
No, it does. Yeah, it looks amazing.
Oh, but have you seen the movie?
Oh, no. I
haven't seen the movie. I've seen the promos for your release for Godzilla.
Yeah.
No, this is not your typical Godzilla movie. It's amazing. You'll love it. It's only going to be in theaters for a short amount of time, so
it's on my list.
Weekend destination. Make it a weekend, and just prioritize it. Bring the family. You know.
Is it a family appropriate movie?
It depends on how old your kids are. I think if they're older than 12 or 13, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. So mine are doesn't make the cut.
Doesn't make the cut. Yeah.
Nope. I got 6 and 9 or 10.
They're not quite ready for that jelly, but
yeah,
it's a stunning film. It is not, like I said, it is not what you expect going in, and you'll come out and be like, that was not the movie I was expecting, and holy moly, it was awesome.
Right. I mean, it feels like it's such a good time to be a Godzilla fan. Like between the Godzilla -1, the Monarch show, and the King Kong Godzilla collaboration movie.
Yeah, the legendary picture movies. Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
So, there's more Godzilla now than there's ever been.
Right.
And we can use it all. It all. So,
that's right.
But,
we were kind of saying the same thing about Turtles on one of our other conversations. There's so much Ninja Turtle stuff out now. That's for a while there was almost nothing, and now there's this explosion.
Yep.
It borderlines on too much at times, where you're just like, I love it all, and I don't know if I can get it all, but I want it all.
Right.
And, yes. We're all in the same boat with you right there, just going, okay.
Yeah.
Woo, all right.
It's like, oh boy, here's another NECA thing. Oh no, here's another Super 7 thing. Oh no. It's like,
I love the Rockstar versions of the Turtles that you guys are releasing, because those were some of my favorites from Playmates, and I still have them somewhere. So to see those being tackled by you guys, I'm really excited to get those in hand. So.
Yeah, they're turning out really nice too. You know, heavy metal, punker, and now we've got hip hop. You know, it's rapping version. Yeah, they turned out really cool and really fun, and you know, they're definitely left turns and right turns from what you would have expected as a kid. You're like, oh, they need another turtle. So they turned him into this, like it's a music series and it's a sports series. Like, what's going on here? Okay, I guess we can go down that road. You know, what you expected.
Yeah. Well, and I like how you're dipping your toe into that, and then it's expanding it, like you did with the undercover Raphael and Donatello.
Yeah,
like that, I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some more stuff like that in the future. But the next big future, obviously, the wave after the one we're working on right now, will be 2003. But I think, this wave right now is super cool, and people seem to be pretty pumped on it. I don't know. like you got your wrapping version. So at least we got one out of there for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a super exciting time, and obviously, going in, it was November coming into December, but just October with New York Toy Fair, with New York Comic Con, then coming into November, it's just been bang, 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 and then
right.
we're a week away from the end of the Cobra Mothership. But right in the middle of it, we've finally got the official word that we can do O-ring, and that's been obviously a real game changer for the vintage GI Joe collector. Obviously, the modern classified guy, man, he's got a checklist and he's checking it twice. Like, that guy's got plenty to do, but that vintage O-ring guy's been waiting forever. Like, all right, you're making reaction, but that's not what I want.
Right.
Right. Yeah, the O-ring announcement was huge.
Yeah, to check that off the list for these guys is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be pretty much the exact same type of O-ring system like in the old GI Joes, right?
It's going to be like, basically what we keep talking about is going to be like sort of like year 4 of the vintage GI Joe line was when it really hit its stride. So if you're talking about year 1, you don't have the swivel arms yet. Yeah. So you get into swivel arms, the sculpting gets a little bit more complicated, and then all of a sudden they had the money for deco, so the deco gets a lot more complicated. That's sort of like, that's the sweet spot for vintage GI Joe. So we're really going to be heading down that route so that they look like they could just, they'll be right on your shelf right next to your old ones.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to my Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
You won't get the core Snake Eyes though, and the core Storm Shadow, because you've already got those.
No,
so it'll definitely be things where we're like, okay, what's the version of Snake Eyes you never got in O-ring? What's the version of Storm Shadow you never got?
That's fair. Yeah,
that's where we're definitely going to go, because I said, if you're a vintage GI Joe O-ring collector, you already have those figures. You don't need me to make that stuff again. Right. So that's why I'm gonna come out here with some. I'm going to take the cart off-road. I'm going to go over a bunch of bumps, swerve around some trees. We're going to roll it a couple times. We're going to go off the beaten path.
So it feels like Mad Max trailer.
It is the Mad Max trailer of O-ring GI Joes. That is an appropriate stretch. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, and that Cobra Mothership, it's just over like an inch over 2.5 feet.
It's actually because I mean, I think it's 32 is the final dimension, so it's 4 inches short of a yard.
Wow,
so,
that's
remember
massive.
As a kid holding up a yardstick, and you were like, "Who would ever use this? It's so big. It's never going to be that."
Yeah, that's big.
I think at that point you might be a yard and a half or 2, but yeah. It's deceptively large,
right.
And it's crazy, but it's not as crazy as the flag. So
it's impressive. I mean, it's no Cat Slayer, but still,
Cat Slayer was definitely pushing the limits of acceptability. You're going to have to be really darn pretty for me to take you home looking like, being that big. And it's like, oh, you're kidding.
Oh, and it was, my goodness, just seeing it in person. Oh, yes. It was so magnificent.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm not saying that just because we did it. I'm saying that because it legitimately is. It's okay. You went all the way there. We didn't half-ass it in any way there. And it's just like, all right, this is preposterous and amazing and ridiculous all at once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought for sure. Yeah, I thought for sure that it was going to be reaction. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. A cool reaction playset. That's cool. And then they're like, no. This is Ultimates. And I'm like, no way are they fitting. Oh, my God.
Yeah, there's no way, because it would have to be gigantic. And then it's like, yes. And it is gigantic.
And it is.
Yeah, he's getting one. One. So
and I appreciate that, Dustin. I just, but it's a beautiful, beautiful item, beautiful toy, beautiful play set, beautiful centerpiece. I think you should put it in the center of the table at Thanksgiving as a conversation starter. Put all the sides around it. You know, I think, you know, can be used for weddings. You can use it to officiate a wedding. You know, you just make the cat, put the voice chip in it, and the cat can just do the vows. It'd be great.
That would be so funny.
It's on a pedestal there, and it's here. Let me hear the ring, and the paw raises up, and the ring's on the gun there.
Oh,
let's do it.
That is magnificent. I totally think that needs to happen. Someone's gonna do it.
Someone's gonna do it. It would be funny to make that a viral video. It's a lot of staging and a lot of casting, but it would be pretty funny to do.
Yeah, it would. Oh man,
married with a cat slayer.
I mean, I figure, you know, one of those folks that are like super hardcore into it, over the top into it, are gonna do that. I guarantee it.
I don't have a problem with this. I think that's awesome. You know,
I think it's an awesome idea too.
How much fun would you be having at your wedding if that was how your wedding was officiated? Now, whether or not some of your family got it, that doesn't matter. It's not their wedding. It's your wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I wanted lightsabers, but I didn't get them. So I don't know. Right. I feel like next time around,
something tells me you ended up with the lightsabers anyways.
I have the ones I made, but I didn't, you know, and had nothing else, but that's it. But
I don't have any lightsabers, but I've repaired a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may not have had them on the wedding day, but you still have them in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the Cat's Lair is now going to be a new family edition that we're paying on, and it's like, yeah, this is nice. I picture it going here, right here off to my right, or left. Yeah, this is left. I'm dumb, but yeah, I imagine it's going to go there because that's literally the only place I have for it.
Well, I think like when I was talking to some other people, it's like it's not one of those things that you can walk in and fit someplace. You're going to have to be like, all right, I got to take all this stuff down, put it in, and then put all the other stuff in back around it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, plus you gotta build the scene. It's like it's just gonna be epic.
I hate to be that guy to keep saying it, but yes, it is gonna be epic because even for us, we're just like, holy shit! Did you see what we built?
I know.
I'm trying to envision the box it's gonna come in.
It's coming in 2 boxes.
2 boxes.
2 boxes. Because one box would just not work. Well, 2 boxes.
Oh, it's going to be magnificent, though. I definitely agree. So definitely hats off in that arena. But man.
Yeah, I mean that big vehicle, big playset. I mean, Thunder Tank is shipping out to people right now. So, we try to do basically 2 a year. So right now, obviously, first was Cat's Lair, and second up was the Cobra Mothership because they're big and crazy. And then once those 2 land and get in people's hands, we'll have to get the next big crazy item out in front of people that they want to have.
Yeah,
so we can always take requests.
Here. I want to pitch something here. The Black Pyramid.
Okay.
With the cauldron and Mum-Ra's the statues that would be so cool. And I know I've already seen other people try to pitch the mutants castle, so to speak. It's like Plundar Mountain or whatever. Plundar, yeah. Oh, and Sky Tomb. I think that would be awesome, but I have no idea how that would work.
Yeah, I mean, some of these you get in that same thing where it's just like, okay, how big does this have to be?
I know.
And if you already got Cat's Lair, do you have room for it?
I would make room for it. I would make room for Sky Tomb for sure.
All right. So we got Dustin down for 1 Sky Tomb and a Black Pyramid.
Yeah. And the other thing I think it would be really cool to have the little hover cat things that they got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Fun little
All
play
right.
set. Well, not
See?
play set, but
You're just line planning now. That's what they
oh
call
yeah,
it.
definitely.
There you go.
I've had this line planned for ever. Like it's like, okay, so in this line, this time they'll do this and this, and that'll be good.
And
Like,
we never do it the way you thought we were going to do it, do we?
No, I had I forget what I was gonna say. I had one of the Lunatics coming out earlier. I figured, I was like, yeah, they're gonna, now that the mutants are pretty much wrapped up, they're gonna do Lunatics, and I was just one ahead of you. It came the next wave.
Came the next wave. Well,
Yeah.
There's more Lunatics to come.
I know. I'm so excited.
There's a bunch of Lunatics that we need to get to.
Yeah. So
Those
speaking of, huh?
So those are his favorite, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely my favorite. But yeah. So speaking of, how's the what's the time look like for the Wily kit and
You mean when those are landing?
yeah, one of those landing. Thank you.
Let me double check here. Like I said, I don't think you can see my screen, which would be terrible if you could, because I get in trouble. Let's see, coming out here, wave set. So Ghost Jaga and Reptilians just land. Wave 7 is landing here in December. So this month is when Wave 7 arrives.
Wow.
And Wave 8, I don't have it in this document, just because it only goes into sort of like near term. But Wave 7 is this month. So when I say landing, that means in our warehouse and shipping out is in December. I thought that Wave 8 was right behind it.
Yeah, when I was looking at on Big Bad Toy Store, it said April, projected April.
Yeah, if it's April, it's got to ship out before CNY.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's shipping out, most likely January. So I thought it was right behind it. I don't have it in this particular document, unfortunately. But I have that, this month you're getting Thundercats Wave 7. Silverhawks Wave 3 will be in February. And Silverhawks Wave 4 will be in March. So they're right on top of each other, along with G.I. Joe and Turtles Wave 9 and Voltron and stuff. And then I thought that Wave 8, it says April. That might be right. It might actually be March. We'll just have to see. It's somewhere in between those two.
Yeah.
So coming up shortly, you will be getting a bunch of Thundercats and Silverhawks.
Yes, indeed. That sounds exciting.
See, I'm trying my best, despite what the internet thinks. I'm trying my best.
Well, yeah, we all have our fans and our haters. So
yeah,
it's not even so much it's haters; it's just trolls.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's like, all right, yes, all right, fine.
You did this.
There's always going to be people that just don't like you, just not to like you. So
yeah,
you're not going to make everybody happy.
I'm definitely, and obviously I'd like to make as many people happy as possible, but at the same time, I'm also like, we're doing our thing, and either you're into it or you're not. And if you're not into our thing, it's really cool because there's a million other people making really cool shit that you can go get excited about. You don't need to be buying my stuff. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing I say with my customs and stuff that I do. They're either for you or they're not. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go like somebody else's stuff.
These things suck. It's like, and I see that your page is full of. Oh no, you don't have any. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't let it bother me.
You've got an audience for people, and they're into it. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just having fun with it. That I think people get so hung up on. I don't want to call it the entitlement of it all, but just that I'm in love with this franchise, and if it's not exactly what, exactly what I thought was going to happen in my mind, it's wrong.
Right.
And it's like there's plenty for everyone, man. There's plenty for everyone.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Have to glass of water. But anyways, Thundercats. There we go. See, now it's like a sneeze going around. Everybody's got a sneeze or everybody's got a cough. Drink the water. Dustin drinks the water. Zombie.
Yeah. I figured it's a good time to break for water.
Yeah. Well, I want to circle back to the Cobra mothership. How has the fan reaction been to that? Has everybody just as a whole been like, "Oh, this is great. This is something I never knew I wanted, but I've always seen it and I've got to have it," or has there been a lot of naysayers?
No, it's been really interesting. It's like people are really into it, especially the people that see it in person. They're like, this thing's bananas. I'm totally going to, everybody's like, yes, yes, yes. Pre-books are obviously slower than we thought it would be at this point, but there's a lot of pre-orders out there. There's a lot of product out there. And I think because, you've got to pay for it in advance or get on the payment plans, as we've seen with most every pre-order lately, it's like, it's doing terrible. Nobody wants this. It's going to fail. And then in the last 24 hours, it's just like, everybody's like, all right, the bill's due today, right? Like when's the last moment I can send in the rent check,
Right.
Well, it has what, 11 days left? Is that right?
Yeah. Cause I think it's the 6th. Yeah. It's something like that. And, we're in a pretty good spot. I would like to be a little further along, but there's still people that I know personally that are like, oh, I haven't bought it yet. Like that I know are like buying it. And they're like, I don't have to do that yet. So I haven't. So we'll wait and see. I feel fairly confident that we'll get to at least the base level. If it happens beyond that, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, it's super cool, but it's also big and not everybody's got the room. It's also expensive and things are tight for a lot of people. We do have payment plans available on the website, but I mean, notwithstanding, it's just not everybody can get there. And that's to be expected. And, it's a bummer, but it's also part of just the way it goes with making big stuff. And then we'll just see, are there enough people that want to get behind it, or does it go by the wayside? I feel pretty confident we're going to get there because, like I said, when people have seen it in person, they're just like, what? It's so like, I didn't know it could be like that. Like when you saw the Cat's Lair. And, but getting them over the finish line to putting the credit card in is, slightly different conversation. So how many of those people come across or not, we will see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Even for me, it's like, oh no, can we afford it? Can we not do it? It's tough.
There's a lot. It's not like it was 10 years ago, if you will, where it was like you got everything that came out because not that much stuff was coming out.
Right.
And it's like there's more stuff by more companies of better quality and a wider variety than ever. And we all want it all. And we're all excited by it because we like this stuff, but that doesn't mean we can afford or have the room or the desire to get everything. There's definitely points too where everybody's like, all right, already, I'm full. I cannot have any more mashed potatoes or pumpkin pie. It's gonna have to wait till tomorrow, even though and you're looking at pumpkin pie still there. Wait until tomorrow.
One of the tiers includes a figure with the O-ring system on it. So I want to bring this up. This particular campaign for your crowdfunding for this particular project, that has nothing to do with moving forward with a line of O-ring Joe figures. That's something separate, right?
Yeah. So the mothership comes with the Cobra Viper gunner, who is the gunner that goes inside the ship. And that figure comes with it, both in reaction and O-ring. So no matter how you collect, you can have the figures that. And then what we've just done, now that we got to announce O-ring, and we're like, oh shit, this is going to be real. We're going to go wide with this. We're going to really get the line out there. We've then moved the officer back down to who is at the 7,000 stretch goal into the base offering, which is like, it's more than anything. It's like, we're getting this party started, so let's bring everybody. Like, oh, this guy is over here. No, come on, get on down here with everybody else. We're getting in the ship and we're going. So so right now you will get both those characters in both O-Ring and Reaction with the mothership. So
wow,
that's super exciting.
It really is. That's so awesome.
Great news.
Well, it's that thing where it's moved from being it's the mothership and it's an amazing vehicle. It's also an amazing play set. And you can play with, you can use your Reaction figures or you can use your vintage G.I. Joe. And here's a figure to kind of show you how it works. No, this is the beginning of a whole new line of G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. So now it was sort of like, all right, let's bring that figure in here and really talk about how this hopefully is the momentum to start pushing forward into O-Ring for G.I. Joe across the board.
Right.
That's great.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're trying to throw a party and we're inviting everybody. Come on, bring your vintage O-Rings, bring your modern O-Rings. We're going to do it all together. And we're not going to make breakable thumbs. We're going to.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I can't tell you how many broken thumbs I have.
Yeah, it's one of those things where whenever you get like the old figures out, you're like, do I want to put the weapon in the hand or do I not?
Right.
I might just put it next to the figure on the shelf, or I'll do this and be like, okay, it's sliding in, we're good. Or it's tight. Nope, it's not gonna. I'm not gonna. Here it is. You
get those little clear rubber bands and just wrap them around the wrist.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
I've done that before.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I've said this before. It's like, G.I. Joe is Hasbro's baby. That's their DNA of any brand. I mean, they have lots of brands, but of the ones that they own and they've built, I mean, that is the one that really pushed the company over into the company they are today.
Yeah.
So being able to go back and, play in that sandbox, I don't know if there's a better analogy or whatever, but being able to use that and play and make G.I. Joe in that regard and not sort of like, it's over here. And that's not something that we normally do, but to like do O-Ring, which is like core G.I. Joe, is a really big deal. It's it's a lot of trust on their side, which is wonderful. And it's super exciting for us because like we're getting even closer and closer to those actual moments when we were kids. Like now we are actually doing the exact thing we did when we were kids. We're like, oh my God. Why didn't they make this guy? I want this guy. I want him painted like this,
Right.
Well, we're going to make him and we're going to paint him like
that. I mean, that is huge because you're right. For a large part of the 80s, G.I. Joe was Hasbro's bread and butter. I mean, I can't remember a single time going into a store, a toy store or whatever, and not seeing just a whole aisle of nothing but Joe stuff.
Yeah. And if you think about it, going back to the 12-inch G.I. Joes, I mean, what was Hasbro known while they made lots of other stuff? What was that core product? G.I. Joe's really that core product that moved them to the next level into like, oh, wait, this is a big toy company, not sort of back then, a smaller regional that made some interesting toys for kids. Like they've got a bunch of classics in there, but nothing on the scale of G.I. Joe. That's what put them on the map.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Joe's in stores, I was actually in Walmart a couple of days ago and saw some of your product on the shelf.
Yeah.
I saw a Bat and a Cobra Commander.
In Reaction or in Ultimates?
Ultimates.
Yes. So in late November was the first. I mean, we've had a few things in Walmart over the past, but they've been part of marketing programs. So like we had a bunch of Power Ranger stuff about a year ago, and that was part of a larger Power Rangers activation where they had different Power Ranger stuff, and we had a couple pieces that came in, but that's in for 4 to 6 weeks and then out. So this is the first time we've had something where it's like, no, here's a shelf spot. And and it's not in all Walmarts. It's only in some Walmarts. They have all these tiering structures about what kind of Walmarts get what and how much size they have for different things. That's why all the Walmarts are different. And you go like, why does this one get it and this one doesn't? It's like, they've got it all gridded out. There's a reason. But in sort of like some of their better performing collectible stores, you'll see there's a 2 pegs for reaction and then a shelf space for ultimates. And G.I. Joe is what we're starting out in there. And we're going to see, for so many people that collect classified or something like that, their whole world, and not that all of us isn't that way to a degree, is you wake up at 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, whatever, and you try to be there when they've restocked the shelves to see what's there. Like, it's a little bit of the thrill of the chase, thrill of the hunt. And for us, by simply not being there, to a large group of those people, like the classified collectors specifically, we don't exist. If you don't exist next to that stuff or in the store, then I don't know you exist. It doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
I've seen pictures of it online, but that might not get me to buy it. But like when I can pick it up and hold it in person, that's a whole different thing where you're like, oh, now that I'm holding it, I see what's going on. And we'll see how they do. I mean, initially it seems like it's doing really well, but I don't know. They're $55. They're not $34.99. It's a different mind space. And are people interested in what we're doing and all the accessories and different things that it comes with? Are they interested? Or are they a very hyper modern only collector? And they're like, if it doesn't have double jointed knees and elbows, I don't bother with it. And it's like, where for me, which I think we've probably discussed before, if not, everybody's heard me say it a million times, is like, I hate looking at a figure and seeing that hexagon on the knee because it looks like a knee pad. And it's like that hexagon takes me out of the character immediately. And I'm like, I'm looking at your shelf, Zombie, and everything's up there and posed. But like, I'm never rolling these guys up in a ball, and, rolling them, I'm not playing with them like that. So that level of articulation is wasted. And when I see nothing but seam lines and cut lines on toys, I don't like it. So that's why I do the articulation patterns that I do. And some people are just like, it's terrible. It's awful. It's the worst thing ever. You're an abomination because of it. It really all sort of depends on what you're looking at. And a lot for me is like, I want it to function and play as a toy. It needs to be what it's supposed to be. But I also try to make the toy articulation and the toy function as invisible as possible. So you're seeing the character come out, not the manufacturing limitations come out. That's why, like everybody's really into the butterfly shoulder thing right now. And it's like, okay, that's really cool for movement. But aesthetically, when you look at it, it's like I've turned this guy into a robot up here. Like all I see is like, here's a big gap, then another gap, and like all of this. And it's like, okay, it can move better, but does it look good anymore? And I would argue that it doesn't. But somebody else has a different point of view where they're like, I don't see manufacturing in that. I just see really cool playability and possibility. And that's a different point of view.
Yeah. I like the articulation to, they can be different even within the same line on different characters for whatever makes sense for that character. Like not every character has to have the butterfly joints or whatever. So but if it makes sense for the character, I'm all for it. But like sometimes because of the artists in me, I sometimes prefer, form over function. So, if it looks good, I'm all about it.
Right.
But I will say, as far as how your Joes are doing, this isn't the first time I've seen some of this line in this particular Walmart. I've seen 2 other times, and I've gone back, and they're gone. So somebody's buying them.
Hey, that's what I want to hear. All right, bring it up. Thank you very much.
Somebody bought them.
Hey, look, and that's how you create the possibility to have more of that at your Walmart. Like, if you buy it and support it, they're going to buy more from us and a wider variety from us to bring it in. But if this G.I. Joe wave doesn't sell, well, they're not going to bring any more in, much less any other waves of Ultimates. But if this wave of Ultimate starts performing well and they're really into it, they're going to bring in more G.I. Joe. If that continues to sell well, then it might be like, all right, well, what about this line? What about this line? Then all of a sudden you could have something where you could walk into a Walmart and maybe buy Silverhawks or buy Conan or buy something that you can't get there now.
Right.
I mean, they're analytical about it. It's like, I put it on the shelf. Did it move? Didn't move? All right, cool. We don't buy it anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Going online and saying you like something is one thing, but companies, they pay attention to what you say with your dollar. So if you're buying it, they're going to get more.
Oh, they have a formula for how much that space needs to generate per month. And if it doesn't generate this amount of dollar at this speed, then we replace it and try something else that will generate that dollar at that speed. And if that doesn't work, we're going to replace it with something else. And it's very straightforward. It's not like, oh, this would be really great, or this is going to make people happy. No. This is a dollar and cents business, people.
What do you mean being happy?
Yeah. And I will give Walmart a lot of credit for trying. They're the first people to put a $55 Ultimate at retail in a mass market sort of large scale setting. So they're taking a chance. Like, hey, this is a lot higher than some of the other stuff we have that is theoretically analogous. We say theoretically because obviously everybody's doing different things with their different lines and different materials, different everything, and how they end up at the price points. But they're like, all right, let's see. Let's give this a shot and see how it runs. And, when they did that with the Power Rangers drop-in that we did, they brought in the Ultimates the Super Cyborgs that were $85. And those ended up actually being the best performing thing that we sent them. Those, where beforehand people were like, that's too expensive. That person's not going to buy it. Those cyborgs were gone. And same thing, like, oh, I've seen these online. Pictures are cool. But when I see it in person and it's this big and all the parts come off and you can see the guts and the robot insides, it's like, maybe I do need this. Because when I put it on my shelf, it's epic and it towers over my other figures. And it's just really cool. Yeah. And so, I'm really optimistic that it's going to do well. But I won't know until I know. We'll know in January, essentially.
Yeah.
So there you go. I detoured. Woohoo!
Well, you did mention Silverhawks, and that was kind of one of our hot topics last time you was on, and the news was dropped about Copper Kid and his space racer. How can you talk about that a little bit? How is that progress coming along since then?
Yeah, no, it's cruising along. Copper Kid and the Space Racer. That comes out. It's going to be out for pre-order in February.
Ooh.
Because Thundercats 10 is pre-order in January. So I don't want to have two in the same month, quarter the same cut. I'm like, that Thundercats guy is my Silverhawks guy. So we can't do them at the same month. So we'll do Thundercats Wave 10 in January, and we'll do Silverhawks with Copper Kid and Space Racer in February. So there you have it.
So is it going to be like sort of like Mandora?
Yeah, sort of like Mandora, exactly. Okay. Because the Space Racer is not a giant vehicle.
Yeah.
It's a one-person vehicle. It's definitely right in that zone.
Nice.
So Copper
Kid. Good.
Yeah. See? There you go, Dustin. Wave 10 Wave 10 Thundercats coming in January.
Yes. I know Zach will be happy about that.
Yeah. Just you can be like, all right, now who's it going to be? Well, I'm going to refresh my brain to remember who it's going to be. That's 12. Oh,
Red Eye, Tug Mug.
It's a really cool
Luna.
Wave. It's got some unexpected twists and turns in this one, but also some things where you're like, oh yeah, I didn't know I needed that.
I kind of feel like Luna is another one of those.
Luna and a Muck.
Luna and a Muck. Yeah. I feel like that's another Mandora type aspect regard to it.
I'm not saying it will or will not be in Wave 10, but Luna and Amok is definitely on the calendar at some point in the future.
Yes.
And the same thing, they have to come together. Like they can't come separately. They come
right.
For some.
I can't imagine like trying to sell a Luna by herself without Amok. It's just like that's just unheard of.
No. It's peanut butter and chocolate. These things go together. It's Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah. Yep. I hear that. Oh man, I'm so excited. Contain it.
Yeah, and then I think, you know, like I said, coming into December, we don't do a whole lot of pre-orders or stuff usually in December because it's Christmas time and everything else. For Ultimates, there's, you know, the -1's out, and there's one other that will come out. I think at the end of this week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one more Ultimate that will come up for pre-order at the end of this week. A deep cut for some deep fans. We'll see how, you know, it's definitely going to be, it's a one-off. So we'll have people go, there's a whole bunch of people will be like, why did they do that? And a bunch of people will be like, oh, they did that. and it's going to be a 50-50. It's going to be like, you're either like, oh yeah, or I do not need this at all in my life.
Oh goodness.
I think it's Friday that it goes live. Possibly. This is where, you know, if I was better on pulling up my marketing calendars, I would know for sure. But you've got it coming this week. It's gonna be a fun little one that I don't think anyone's gonna see coming. But like I said, it's still gonna appeal to a small niche group of people. And that's it for Ultimates for December until we jump into Thundercats in January just for you, Dustin.
Thank you.
Like Dustin can't wait. He's going to get Wave 7 here this month, and he's going to be like, hey, when are you going to bring the next ones? It's like, get through the holidays and I'll give you your present after Christmas.
Yeah, I really need those. Allura was just so amazing. I'm sorry, I'm off topic, but that was just and Chilla.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
Chilla was the one I was really excited about. So there's in this next wave coming up, the deep cut character, if you will, you'll be able to go, oh, there's the deep cut. The deep cut is definitely the one where I'm like, oh no, that one. Because there's definitely going to be a few people that are going to be like, why did they make this guy when they could have been making this or this or this or this or this or this? And it's like, we'll get to those other ones, but this one, yes, no, we're putting that one in. So,
yeah, you had a little taste of that whenever you did the first version that you announced for the Rat King. People were kind of like, this isn't the Rat King I wanted. Why did you do this one? Where is this from? You know, and no, I remember that whole debacle.
Well, that's a bit different. That's, you know, that line with Turtles has evolved so much, you know, as we've moved along, and some of the things that we could do in the beginning of the line, we can't really do now. So we've had to sort of tweak it. And, you know, there is, you know, a fair amount of people that want sort of, hey, I want the version you would have made had you made it in Wave 1. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't make that version, but I can make this version. And I think with Rat King, you know, we have to, you know, navigate around a lot of restrictions. And, you know, we were like, all right, well, let's go down this road. Sort of like, you know, it's not even a fork in the road. It's like spaghetti at the end of the road. You're like, all right, that one. And it was like, and we went down that one, and people were like, yeah, that's not the right one. So we had to back up because that road was a dead end, and then try a different spaghetti, you know,
and
see if that, you know, and, you know, and I think it's also good to note there that obviously we listen to the feedback that people give us. I mean, there are times when, you know, we can listen to it and be like, well, they don't know the things at play, or there's so much I can do, or this is just a personal point of view, and be like, well, that isn't a valid critique. And then there's other times when you get stuff like that and you're like, okay, these criticisms are valid, and this is an overwhelming point of view from the fan group, and let's adjust to make it in that regard. It's not like I'm trying to make it stuff that people don't want to buy. That would be counterproductive. But,
Right.
you know, so we listened to everybody and we're like, all right, hey, then we take that case back to the licensor and say, hey, you know, we really feel strongly that this is where we should be going instead, and this is why, and then try to work it out.
I like the new version of Rat King for sure. I think it.
You like sexy face Rat King, don't you?
I don't know. I think they're both good.
So
Yeah.
so it did work. You went back to them and you said, you know, hey, look, people really want this particular version of him, and you know, we really want to make that version for the fans that feel so strongly about it and everything. And you guys did. You went back and you made another one, and I think it looks great from what I've seen. I haven't seen any kind of adverse reaction to it. You know, it's kind of been accepted, like, okay, yeah, this is the one I want.
Yeah, and I think it feels, like I said, I think emotionally, if you look at it, it's that it feels like the classic character. If you technically look at it, you're like, oh wait, he's got a dead cat bandolier, not a dead cat, you know, belt. Like, things are changed, things are updated, but it's still in the vernacular of what we expect it to be. Where the other one was like, oh, we were looking more at the video game, and people were like, that's not the vernacular I want.
Right.
So it's finding that nice middle ground. Obviously, you know, we try to do that ahead of time, and I think usually we get it right. And in this case, it just was like, no. Rat King is also one of those characters where it's not like, you know, a super deep cut where it's like Rat King still, like, that's super important to everybody. Like, he's not C level, B level. I tuned in at 60 with Rat King. Well, you know, there you go. Everybody's got a little something. It's like, oh, that dirty cute boy over there.
Thanks for making it, Billy. That's
you know,
he says he prefers the second version, even with the tweaks in the design. So I agree.
Yeah. And
the dead cat was definitely what was needed.
So we're gonna put that.
I love the accessories.
Frame. When all else fails, add a dead cat.
Right.
That's the feedback that you've never thought in your life you'd be getting. Like, you know what would make this better? A dead cat.
Dead cat.
Never has that been uttered ever in any other feedback loop on Earth.
Not a cat, but I have had a conversation with some coworkers a few years ago about making a instead of a skin coon hat, a possum skin hat.
That would just be even grosser. It'd be white with a pink end.
With the bear tail in the back. It
is one of those things where you think about this now, and like some of the stuff that, at least growing up for me, where you just took it at face value. You're like, you know, a raccoon skin hat. Okay, look, raccoon skin. Let's take not bear, deer, not like a traditional animal that's a raccoon skin, or kids that, you know, we all know that had rabbit's feet on their keychain. Like, no, you're carrying around a severed actual rabbit's foot that's been preserved. Like, wait a minute, like, this is kind of really jacked. You know, because it's sort of like traditional good luck, whatever. You're like, wait. Now that I take this out of context, this is pretty jacked up. This is pretty messed up. The actual, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Did you guys ever have an actual rabbit's foot keychain or anything like that?
I did.
I actually had a raccoon skin hat.
Like, you know, we're batting 3 out of 3. That's a lot of dead, full-grown rabbits just for feet. You know,
it's just like you see people that
business model was, we're going to cut off all these rabbits. We're going to kill all these rabbits. Now, it was probably downstream from people eating rabbit, but still. And then we're going to preserve it, and we're going to mount it to a keychain and sell it to kids.
Yeah. On that note, down here we have alligator stuff. So
it's true.
It's a very real thing.
It's a very real thing. Sort of like when you go to the grocery store and you're like, those are pickled pig's feet. I don't know that I've ever known anybody that eats them, yet they're stocked here. So somebody
Yeah.
is.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
I don't personally eat them, but I've known some people that do. Of course, I mean, I live in Louisiana, so we eat all kinds of weird stuff down here. But they said that's the best part of the animal. So I don't know. I've never tried. I don't want to.
I am happy for you to try it all day long. You know, yeah.
No.
I can't imagine that pig's feet are the best part of the animal. Knowing that
I can't either.
And pork chops and all sorts of other stuff are involved, and ham, you know, lips, knuckles, feet,
ears.
Yeah, I think Billy Beige is making sausage.
He's my neighbor a state over, so he's
exactly.
He's in Mississippi.
He's making andouille. That's what's going on.
Oh boy. Woo, thank you, Rat King, for this conversation.
Exactly. Dead cats, pickled pig's feet, and alligator.
Yeah.
There you go. We get what was his name? Justin Wilson? Alligator.
Wasn't
that his name? The guy that had that crazy Cajun accent that was always on TV?
I can't remember.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I think
Justin Wilson. Hey, y'all. We're going to get on here with y'all out. Get y'all.
I know people that actually talk like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just, when people talk to my dad, grew up, we all grew up in Texas, but he grew up in very remote West Texas. I don't hear his accent at all. And other people are just like, what did he say? Like it's hard to understand the thickness of his accent.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like, what?
Yeah. You know, it feels like, because like it took a minute to like, I feel like you have to recalibrate your brain to like tune in to what they're saying. Like it took me a minute to appreciate that show Shorzy and Letterkenny. It took me a minute to tune into what they're saying, and then it's like, oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah, because am I hearing the right words? Am I hearing the right sentences? Yeah, I'll hear myself in my head say words sometimes where I'm like, my Texas accents, I clearly have parts of it someplace. Like, we were driving not too long ago. We were back in Texas, and we were driving down the street. And mentally, you're driving, you're reading stop signs and everything. We're driving by, and I saw a sign. I was like, "Oh, it's Allfield Road." That's oil field for anybody else. But my brain still says, "You see OIL? That word is all." That's how you say it.
I was watching. I had TV on. Not really watching it, but just had it on one night, and I hear this woman's accent, and I stopped dead in my tracks and looked up, and they had her location, which was where I was born and grew up, and I instantly recognized the accent because it sounded like somebody from my family, and I'm going, oh my god, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's like I remember flipping through something, and they were having it was like, an interview with the guys from Oasis, and you're just flipping channels, but they have to subtitle it. Right. English. It's the Queen's English, and it has to be subtitled because the accent is so thick.
Yeah,
I can't see without my subtitles on.
So I don't know what they're saying.
I don't know if this show still comes on, but I think it came on Discovery or whatever, called Swamp People. And
I remember Swamp People. Yeah, what was the one guy's? One guy had the craziest accent, the bald guy. I watched several seasons of Swamp People.
I remember
alligators.
I remember when they introduced the Geist brothers. They were the two that looked like the typical hillbilly type that lived out in the swamp. Yeah. And they had them subtitled, but then during their interview process they were showing, they said, well, what's your favorite foods? And they were naming off animals that they go out and catch, and I'm in horror going, oh my God, everybody's going to think, everybody in the country, in the world that sees this is going to think everybody in Louisiana just goes out in the woods and catches things to eat instead of going to a grocery store like everyone else. I'm dying in my seat going, oh my God, they're talking about, whatever you can think of to go out into the swamp and catch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's a lot of us taking this a step back and being not like, when we go, my wife is from Greece, and you go back to Greece, you go to somebody's house, in the back of the house, there's a giant a pen for rabbits, because the rest of the world eats rabbits. No big deal. Like, same thing, eat lamb. Like, you don't hear about that much here, but like, the rest of the world eats lamb all the time.
Right.
Like, what? It's another animal. You go to other places, they're like, it's squirrel. You're like, squirrel? Rabbit, or even then we don't. I'm sure we all eat chicken, but you don't really hear about us eating quail or dove or anything else, unless you're out hunting and your family hunts and does that. But it's like, no, quail is on the menu most places. Like, you can get quail eggs at restaurants. Like, that's, it's part of normal food everywhere else. When we're here, we're like, no, we eat pigs, we eat cows and chickens. And that's pretty much it.
Right. We draw the line there.
Yeah. For a lot of people. Yeah. I'm not good at that though. I'm not good at some of this other stuff where, it's the same thing like octopus and squid and, when my wife is like, that is the first thing she orders. Oh, calamari? That's what we're getting. I'm like, that's great for you. That's great for you. I'm going to have this.
I've had calamari. It's not too bad. But
it's all different. Same thing. Going back to Greece, where it's like, no, they pull it up out of the water, they keep it alive, put it on the thing off the boat, smash it till it's dead, and then throw it in a pot and eat it right there. That's a radically different thing than getting fried calamari at your local place.
Right.
Mountain
Billy,
oysters.
I agree with you.
Not eating testicles.
No.
Definitely not.
Oh man, we have gone off the rails.
This has nothing to do with anything.
We had plenty of talk about toys, so I thought we got a good chat about toys.
we have this bad habit of doing this. So much so that on our regular shows that we do, where we discuss movies and stuff, it's anything and everything, not just the movie. And so it's
so at this point, this is par for the course, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Now we all know what to order when we go out to eat, right?
Not this. A food review show.
Exactly. Have you tried this? So
I've
yes,
definitely not tried octopus smashed and live.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing where if you think about it, it's really, you're like, oh, that's really weird, but you're also in that. If you go all the way to the other side on the high-end culinary thing or whatever, it's like when you eat food that is 100% fresh, like this thing was alive 5 minutes ago, the way that food tastes, like when you pull it out of the ground, it's going to taste different than it does 3 days later.
Right.
And it's like fresh food is fresh food. And you're like, oh, that's why people eat this, not these other why.
Oh,
so Zombie's reading something.
Nope, sorry, I don't know how that happened. No, I was saying we've done a garden here past couple of years, and it's a world of difference from what you can pick up at the supermarket or whatever versus what you grow yourself. So
you pull a tomato out of your backyard. It's not like that thing you get at the grocery store. By no means. But anyways, now that we've spent an hour talking about our culinary choices for the day,
go support the Cobra Mothership.
Oh, well, that would be awesome. Yes. That would be awesome. It's bigger than a bread box. We'll bring it back. Just more than anything, it's like, hey, if that's your thing, jump on in. That would be great. If it's not, totally understand. Thundercats are coming. More Thundercats, more Silverhawks. It's awesome. There is G.I. Joe O-Ring coming. Godzilla -1 is up right now.
So exciting.
you know, there's a lot of really fun, cool stuff we're getting to make right now, and it's super fun to do, and hopefully people are having fun picking it up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's probably a bit of stress too, because I know that I'm stressing about finding ways to pay for the Big Bad Toy Store order that I have, because I was not able to order it through you guys, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't help you with that.
I know.
But the fine folks at Big Bad are wonderful people. And if you need anything, I'm sure you can shoot them an email to customer service and say, can you spread this out a little bit or something? Let's see. How do you make me spend more money with you?
Oh, good.
Let's see. Billy's got a comment here about that Godzilla. The tail render super articulated.
We've changed the tail renders a little bit. Like if you look at these guys, like, you know, there's so many sections, but there's a limited amount that you can actually do aside from rotation side to side without getting huge gaps. So we've actually simplified the tail articulation slightly so it has better aesthetic, but still has as much range of motion.
Nice.
So it's got like,
cool.
It's also sort of like we built in some of the motion to it already. So yes, it's an improvement in tail design. New for 2024.
Well, the whole thing looks incredible. I'm going to have to order that one for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you have the opportunity, and, you know, I don't pontificate about a lot of movies. Like I was like, oh, cool, Godzilla movie. This is not what you're expecting. It's really fucking good. Really
well,
good.
What was that other one that came out? I'm drawing a blank on the name, where it shows him evolving in the movie. Shin.
Yeah, Shin.
Yeah, that was it. That one I was not expecting that. Like when I put that one on and watched it, and then, you know, it shows the creature, and I'm looking at it, I'm kind of going, okay, that must be what he's gonna fight. And it's like, no, that's him as he's changing. I'm going, oh my God. I didn't expect it.
Yeah. I would say Shin is the closest to it, but it's so different. It, like I said, it deals with a lot of stuff that you won't expect it to deal with. And I think it's a very surprising movie in that regard. So I don't know. It's the same thing. Like everybody that saw it over here saw it on Wednesday were like, yo, you have to go. And I'm like, look, I'm going to go this weekend. And they're like, no, you need to go. So it's not all those times where you get people where, you know, sort of like after Ragnarok, everybody was like, have you seen Ragnarok? And you're like, you know, I'll get to it. And they're like, no. Ragnarok. So I apologize, guys, though. I am going to have to bounce because I am now officially 7 minutes late to a work meeting.
Oh, so, no.
Yeah, okay.
Well, everybody's got the 5-minute Zoom, you know, sort of like buffer at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for coming back.
For sure.
Thank you guys for having me. You know, I'll happily talk about toys and apparently food anytime. Want to talk about I'll talk about toys all the time. Maybe January we'll talk about Thundercats because you'll have gotten a new set and there'll be a new set for pre-order. You can tell me what you expected, what you didn't expect, what you like, what you don't like. And
sounds good.
Yeah, we'll definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we're not going to keep you. We'll let you get to your meeting. So thank you again for joining us.
No, thanks for having us, guys. And, you know, have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Yes, I will.
All right. Take it.
And that was Brian Flynn. So epic.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
He's a great guy.
He's just so fun to talk to.
Yeah. I want to apologize to Caveman. I saw that pop up and we were discussing the other stuff. We'll put a pin in this one for you. And when we have him back on in January, we'll make sure that this one is on top of the list to get asked. Because I was also curious about some of the Voltron stuff because there hasn't been too much that's come out or announced. And I kind of want to touch back on something like some of the lesser produced things that they've done. So this one's definitely going to be at the top of the list for next time.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, well, that wraps it up for today. Join us back on Friday when we have our normal chat, and we are watch Krampus from 2015. And then watch that, and then come join us in the chat on Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yep.
And until then,
as far as I know, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yep. All
until
right. Later.
then, see ya.